Hey, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining our podcast. My name is Brad, and I just happen to be from probably the greatest generation. I'm Gen X.
And I'm Rachel, and I'm pretty sure I'm from the greatest generation as a millennial.
Whatever. Anyway, you're listening to our brand new bi-weekly podcast of That's Okay.
This is a podcast where we'll explore a variety of topics and see them from two different generational perspectives.
That's right. We're going to discuss pretty much anything that piques our interest. That could be from technology to music, the paranormal, and probably even Bigfoot.
Well, regardless of the topic, we'll keep it fun and entertaining.
That's right. There's no doubt we certainly won't agree on everything, but we can always agree to disagree, and that's okay. All right, so this week we're going to be discussing generational differences. We're going to share a bit about ourselves and each other so that we can really kind of see the different times that we grew up and get to know each other a little better. Also, I think Rachel has some sort of silly game for me to play where I'm probably going to have to guess whatever some acronyms or whatever some street slang the kids use these days. But that's all right, because the joke's going to be on her, because I happen to have my own little game that we're going to play later. And we're going to test some of her knowledge on some of the cool things that we grew up with as Gen X. So, listen, you're not going to want to miss this debut episode, so make yourself comfortable, grab a drink, grab a snack, and get ready to get into the very first episode of That's Okay. Now let's roll.
All right. Welcome to That's Okay.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it's been a while.
It has been a while. For those of you who don't know, we've been planning this for a long time, and we've attempted to record it several times.
Yes. I mean, this has probably been in the works for I guess we've been in talks for like a year. But yeah, we've recorded more than once. So lots of behind the scenes footage for y'all.
Welcome back to round two
Yes.
of which you never saw round one.
Yes. Well, I don't know if anyone will ever see round one.
Maybe bits and pieces.
Maybe one day.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the podcast. Obviously, it's generational differences.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Gen X. You're Millennial.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about how we know each other.
Yeah. So my cousin is your wife. So I guess that would make you cousin-in-law.
That's right.
If that's a thing.
Yes. My wife's uncle is your father. Because your father and my father-in-law are brothers.
Yes. This is true. Yep.
From a large family.
Yeah, it's pretty large.
There's a lot of brothers. One sister.
Yes.
I feel sorry for your grandmother.
I mean,
just saying, she went through a lot.
Yeah, she did. But yeah, that's how we know each other. So the good part about this is being from different generations, we're gonna have different points of view on things.
Correct. It'll be interesting to explore and see where your thoughts lie on specific topics as we go through some of these cool episodes.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I want to define real quick for those listening, a Gen X, which is me, is pretty much referred to born between the years of 1965 and 1980. Mm-hmm. So I'm 1970, so I'm a little bit into that Gen X.
Right.
And I know you came up with a quick list of what you thought of stereotyping a Gen X would be. So let's run through some of that.
So some of the stereotypes that I found were cynical.
Correct.
Sarcastic.
Absolutely.
Sarcastic. Lots of TV, because they're also called the MTV generation.
We are called the MTV generation. I didn't have MTV because my parents didn't believe in paying for television. They only received what came in over the little airwaves. But a lot of my friends had cable and stuff, so I got to see MTV at their house. And it was pretty cool. Yeah. I dug it. We had to wait for Friday night videos, which came on like Friday at 10 o'clock and played like an hour or 2 hours of music videos on probably, I think it was like our Channel 5 at the time.
Really?
And that's the only way I got to see music videos unless I was at somebody's house.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
How crazy. Also, nostalgic.
Yeah, we are nostalgic. We like to reminisce about the good old days.
And something on there that I thought was pretty cool was that they were also referred to as latchkey kids, like really self-sufficient kids, like mom and dad both working, so the kid would have to be a little bit more reliant.
Yeah, I think that definitely was more common in my generation. I guess the previous generation's dad went to work, mom was the stay-at-home mom. Right. Well, that was the stereotype, typical. more of the moms worked in probably my generation. And that may have something to do with trying to keep up with the Joneses, more income, more stuff to do.
You're probably right.
My mom, she went to work. She worked when I was a kid, but her office was in our house for a long time. She sold insurance, so it wasn't until much later that they bought and created an office elsewhere. I was a teenager at that point, so my mom had to put up with me. I wasn't a latchkey kid.
Well, there you go. Well, that kind of goes into this next one. So I was Googling and it came up with the autofill of Gen X is tired,
exhausted, so
tired of everything.
So, and not just physically tired, just tired of things in general,
right?
All the silliness that the world has become.
I thought that was too funny. And it's like right on the money.
Yeah. So, well, you know what? Okay. So I looked up millennial because I want to make sure I knew what a millennial was,
which is 81 through 96 for those y'all listening.
81 through 96, also known as Gen Y.
Right.
But I think we all call you guys millennials.
Right.
So a couple stereotypes. Here's kind of what I think of. I think most of us think of Gen X guys and girls think of when we think of millennial. We think of entitled, kind of feel like everything's given to them. Probably spoiled, I guess, would be a good definition for that. Confident, though. Millennials are definitely confident. Confident they can conquer the world and do anything they want to do.
Because our parents told us that we can be anything we want to be, and we're special.
Yeah, there's a book called Why You Can't Be Anything You Want to Be. Great book, very inspirational. Anyway, I have another book. Another book we can talk about sometime called Aim Low. Anyway, so confident narcissists, definitely. I see that. I think they're sheltered. They're protected.
I would agree with that. I definitely feel like I was sheltered growing up, for sure. I
feel like parents don't want that their kids that are raising those kids to experience all the bad things, which unfortunately I think can have a reverse reaction to what they were trying to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Empathetic, though. I do find that millennials are very empathetic. They're very pro supporting other people in a cause. Yeah. Definitely out for a cause. And then I think they're kind of the generation of participation trophies.
Yeah. I mean, I see that last one, though. I really feel like that's how millennial parents feel. So, like, if you're like on the tail end of on the other end of millennial, where you have your own kids, that you want them to have that sort of participation.
You may be right. It may be more prominent in the following generation. But it was brought on by a lot of the millennials. But it's probably, I'm going to share the blame. It was probably brought on by a lot of Gen Xers too.
Really?
Yeah, because nobody likes it when their kids learn that they can't win everything.
Yeah.
It stinks. I get that. But at the same point in time, what lesson are you really teaching your child about life?
Right, and that's something that kids should learn, though, that sometimes things aren't going to go their way and aren't they're not going to have everything they want.
Are you sure you're a millennial?
I have been told I'm an old soul, so maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it's just because I work with kids, so like I have a kind of a different viewpoint than a lot of other millennials, because I feel like I wasn't the same way 10 years ago,
right?
Like as far as the way I see things, and I don't know if that's just because being around kids and I've had to think of things in a different way so I can make sure that they're successful,
right? And
if maybe that's part of it, I don't know. Strange. We'll get into that another time.
So we can talk a little bit about ourselves, how we grew up. I grew up native Texan. My mom and dad still together, 57 years, I guess. I don't know. Long time, longer than I can count. And so when I grew up, we took a lot of family trips together. We did a lot of things. My parents were strong believers in, family is the most important thing.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily like things that took away from family time.
I can agree with that on my end too.
We were never part of like Boy Scouts, which I always thought would be fun. Boy Scouts. We never really did much with sports. Sports thing, maybe just because that wasn't our interest. We were more music oriented as a family. But yeah, that was, I don't know. I mean, it was fun to have those activities, but I guess they assumed I would get social at school itself in recess. I didn't need all the other stuff. So very family oriented, but very music oriented too. My parents had a family band growing up. Mom played piano, organ. She plays auto harp. A lot of different things. Sings. My dad played bass. He plays guitar, sings as well. My brother plays drums and guitar. I play guitar and saxophone when I was in band in school.
Band
I was a band geek. But saxophone was cool, back then. It still is cool. It still is. It's a cool instrument.
Still cool.
So I'll never forget my dad gave me a guitar when I was 8. I think I was 8, and said, "Hey, we don't have a lead guitarist, so it's time for you to figure this out." And he quickly taught me how to play Tequila on the guitar. Great song. Maybe highly inappropriate right now for my age at 8 years old. But anyway, I learned to play it and it kind of took off from there. So good time. So tell me about yours. What's your family like?
Well,
I know your family, but tell me about your childhood. I was kind of disconnected. I've known you since you were 2 or 3.
Right.
But, I've erased a lot of that. So how was it?
I mean, I guess similar as far as like family is most important and not, wanting to take away from that. I mean, I did do like I played a few sports and stuff as a kid, like outside of it. But we weren't super music oriented. We were more like going to the movies and TV type of people, like more visual than audio, I guess.
Yeah.
We would go to the movies a lot and rent movies. I mean, we still do. I mean, we still have movie nights and stuff like that, and are always looking for a different show to watch and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely family oriented, and I think that just comes from the larger scale family. Like we always have get-togethers, and we probably spend more time than we should all together. I mean, you would agree.
I agree. I
definitely don't
pretty much been to all of those.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're pretty close as a family in general. So that's always been the most important thing. But I mean, as far as like going back to the millennial thing about being sheltered, like I definitely feel like I was sheltered, and I don't think it was like, it was just like a way for my parents to just make sure that I like stay like the young innocence of childhood as long as possible. Which, I mean, is completely understandable.
Sure. No, I get that. Because look at you now. They did the best they could.
Yeah. I pulled through.
Yeah, no,
I think I pulled through. But yeah, I definitely feel sheltered because I remember, because I went to private school when I was younger, just up until 6th grade. And then when I remember going from 6th grade private school to 7th grade public school, and it was just almost culture shock. I mean, it's not like I didn't know some of these people, but it was just some stuff that they were talking about, and like the clothes people were wearing, because we had uniforms, and it was just completely
totally
different. And I was like, whoa. It was the first time my eyes opened from that.
So you're adopted.
I am adopted, but I was adopted at birth. So it's not like it had like a super large significant moment on my life, because I've known it forever. Like one of my earliest memories was going to my mom while she was washing dishes and just saying, "Mom, am I adopted?" And she just kind of looked down at me and, "Yep." And I was like, "Okay." And just went back and went on playing. Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, but they look different enough that it's not something that could have just been hidden.
Right.
So, but it was never made a big deal. Like they were never trying to hide it and just be like, "Well, wait till she's 18 to tell her," or anything like that. I mean, it was something that I've known my whole life.
That's very cool. So that's cool. They didn't try and hide it,
Yeah.
So, and it, at that point, I guess they are your parents.
Yeah, for sure. Like they're my parents, my family. Like I don't know anything different, and honestly, like I don't want to know anything different. We're in a great life.
Say that now.
No. Say that, but no.
Yeah,
no. I mean, they're my parents, they're my family, and I couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah.
All right, so that's a little bit about us.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we come from, our background, our differences. Mm-hmm. So tell us, what else? What are we going to talk about today on this podcast? Now that everybody's gotten to know us a little bit, what are we talking about?
Well, just some differences between like where things were to where they are now. I mean, what is an invention that you remember growing up that just made such a huge impact on your life and just changed society? I mean,
easy. Walkman.
The Walkman.
The Walkman. Man, when I could carry all my music, well, not all my music, but a nice, cool mixtape that I could make myself of my music, I wasn't just having to listen to, one whole album at a time, and carry it with me everywhere I went was amazing. I used to go on long road trips because my parents used to take long vacations in the summer. And what teenage kid didn't want to spend 3 months with their parents during the summer while kids were out playing and you were stuck in a car? So sometimes the Walkman was all I had, right? So I loved it. It was such a great being into music. I mean, it was huge for me. So I think the Walkman made a really big difference on my generation, being able to take those things with us.
So how'd you even make that mixtape? Please tell me that you like recorded it from the radio and had to, like,
Absolutely. Yeah, so when you listen to a mixtape from the 80s, you miss like the first 5 seconds of every song and then like 5 seconds at the end because the DJ always seems to like to talk all the way up till the vocals start. So sometimes you just have to record the DJ.
That's great.
But that's how you did it. You listen to the top 40 or the top 20 on Saturday or Sunday morning and you go, I know my song's coming up, and you put it on pause, and you'd unpause it, and you'd record it, and man, you could listen to that song over and over again until your heart was content.
Man, I remember doing ringtones like that when phones started coming out more. When I had a phone anyway, I was like, okay, everybody be quiet, my song's coming on, and like recording it, and be like, all right, that's my new ringtone, I got it, it's my jam.
So, are you going to say then phones probably?
Probably phones for
sure.
Cell
phones.
Yeah.
Not phones in general, but cell phones. She's not that old.
No, I'm not that old. Phones, because I'm like 300.
Smartphones.
No, yeah, smartphones for sure. Because I remember, I wasn't able to get a phone until I could pay for it myself with my babysitting money. And so it was a big deal because I remember, not having them. And then I'm getting into middle school and like the Razor was really popular. Like that was the cool phone to have.
That phone would still be cool if they kept making it. They actually did re-release it. They re-released it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, so that was a big deal. The main smartphones and stuff like the iPhones and stuff kind of came out a little later when I was in high school, but it was just, you were cool if you had the newest phone and this and that, but that probably made the biggest impact for sure.
Right.
Just as far as like having the like high speed internet in your pocket.
Instant access to just about anything you want to know in the palm of your hand.
It's wild. Yeah.
Maybe dangerous.
Maybe.
It is.
Probably.
It is.
But I feel like sometimes though that made people a little bit lazier because if you just wanted to know something, all you have to do is just look it up real quick instead of like having to take a note and be like, all right, I'm going to go search for that at another time.
Right.
You can just pull out your phone and say, I wonder who did this and what's that about?
Right.
So
what about television? What was your favorite show from, you would say, your era? Maybe teenage years.
So I watched Disney Channel a lot. I really love Disney Channel movies, like all the old ones, like Halloween Town and all that type of stuff. I don't think you know what I'm talking about, but you might know what I'm talking about. Y'all listening, man, I'm still big into Disney Channel movies. Disney Plus, that's where it's at right now. I watch all those old ones because just they're so cheesy and campy, and it's great. Even my mother watches them.
That's interesting. Well, see, once again, I didn't have cable. So there was no Disney Channel at my house. And I don't even think Disney Channel was, let's put it this way. That's another invention that happened during my generation was cable television.
Yeah.
We didn't have cable growing up. Up until late 70s, whenever even then they would broadcast, you had to get a decoder box that you would put on top of your television. And at like 10 o'clock on Saturday nights, if you had this decoder box, you could tune into some UHF channel, 27, 33, whatever it may be, and they'd send out this scrambled signal. And if you had the decoder box, you could be watching these cool movies and stuff. And then, of course, later on, it turned into cable television where, it was just 24/7 stuff. But they even had satellites where people would put these huge satellites to bring in all these channels. So we I didn't have Disney. But for me, I had whatever was on network television. Right. And man, as a boy growing up in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, Dukes of Hazzard. Oh man, what a great show that was. Bo and Luke Duke and Daisy. Come on, Daisy Dukes. That's where that comes from.
Right? That's right.
But that or a hot Saturday night had Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Never watched those.
Good shows.
Man, I'm gonna have to watch those because this isn't the first time you talked about them.
Well, no, they were good, but there were so many other great. And one I know just because your parents are well versed in this, is WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Probably one of my favorite sitcoms of all time.
Well, like, yeah, that's a good one. With a lot of the stuff that we watch that I have a lot more memories of watching is like Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, we watched that a lot, and Perry Mason. Like we still watch a lot of Perry Mason.
I never watched. We didn't watch Perry Mason. We didn't watch really. I guess my parents may have watched Columbo.
Oh yeah, we still watch Columbo. It's on Sunday nights.
I wouldn't
we watch
know.
Columbo every Sunday.
I mean, my parents watched Dallas.
Yeah, my mom was big into
yeah,
Dallas.
I mean, that's the only reason we've got our first VCRs, because we used to go to a lake on the weekends. We'd leave on Friday night, and my mom didn't want to miss Dallas, so she bought my dad a VCR for Christmas so she could tape it for him. Or tape it for her.
Him
yes.
for her.
Him for her, correct.
I got you this present so you can make things for me.
So you can record Dallas. And that's how that worked. So, but yeah. Video recorders. That was another great invention from my era. Man, we had the best. Well, you could record television, for crying out loud. How cool is that?
I still have some VHSs of stuff that I recorded on Disney Channel.
Perfect.
Like all my Disney Channel movies. That's how I watch them. Like even up until recently, until my godson put a Pop-Tart in my VHS player, man. I still was watching all my recordings still.
Well, who didn't put Pop-Tarts in their VCRs?
I'm telling you.
It happens.
Too funny.
So, let's see. So, we talked about television. We talked about phones, obviously, kind of thing. What about gaming? Are you big into gaming?
Well, I mean, most of the gaming and stuff I did was at other people's houses. So I would go to my cousin's house and play Nintendo 64 that apparently you owned.
I believe that was ours. Yes.
That somehow made it way over there.
Weird.
But
Super Mario 64 was awesome.
Well, we'd play that
GoldenEye.
Yes.
Man.
Yes, we would play that one.
Classic.
The James Bond one. Because that was, man, that's just the one that we were hooked on. We were always play that. But it was only like one player, so we'd have to take turns.
It was 2-player.
Well, we didn't
split screen.
We didn't do that. Or maybe it was 2-player and she was just being sly and be like, oh yeah, we go and play one at a time. Or we only had one controller or something.
Oh,
either way, we took turns a lot and it was really fun. I have distinct memories playing that game. But I mean, other than that, we didn't really get too much. But what about you?
Yeah, I mean, my generation is the generation of Atari, in television, Pong, all those, which is a lot of fun. My dad did not believe in video games, really. So I didn't own a video game machine until, the exception of he did own a Radio Shack version of Pong at one point. But until I could save my own money and buy a video game system, we never had one. Instead, he thought he would make us smarter, and he bought us a TI-99 4A, which is a home computer that was marketed, obviously Texas Instruments, but they used Bill Cosby was their big marketing guy for that. And it was a lot of fun because, honestly, the TI-99 4A had great games. Better graphics.
What did you play?
Parsec. Tunnels of Doom. Hunt the Wumpus. Such a good game.
Oh,
I actually have
great.
an emulator just so I can play Hunt the Wumpus.
That's amazing.
It's a great game. But so I had to go to all my friends' houses to play Atari, Nintendo, and all those sorts of things. But now, because I was deprived of them as a child, I own every single one of those systems. All of them.
Everything.
I buy it
anything
all.
You can name, you got
I
it.
have it. Yeah.
But how often do you play it?
Never. But I have them.
Never.
I mean, I have everything from Pong to, I don't know, PS4, PS5 when it comes out, to Oculus, VR headsets, all of it.
Speaking of VR, Virtual Boy that you own.
I own two. Yeah, two Virtual Boys. Correct.
Oh my gosh. So for y'all that don't know, my dad made a trade with him
trade
for our Virtual Boy for I don't know what, for something. But now our Virtual Boy's here, and now I'm finding out you have two?
Well, I found one in an estate sale.
So we could just play side by side and not have to interact. We'd just be playing Virtual Boy.
Yeah, we could. We could both have migraines and be cross-eyed. It's perfect.
Yes. Man, I was cross-eyed every time because I would sit and play that game for hours at a time and then get up and be like, this is what real world looks like.
Yeah.
Man, I love that game.
And then much later, I got into my favorite video game was always Star Wars, the original Star Wars stand-up video arcade game. When I'd go to an arcade, there was Circus in Las Vegas had one, and whenever you're 16 years old and you can't really go into the casinos, and your parents are going to do stuff, you go to Circus, and it's like a kid wonderland. I mean, they have every video game, they have all kinds of stuff going on, but they had the Atari Star Wars, and man, played that so much until when my wife and I finally built a game room. That was the very first game I bought.
I remember y'all having that. That was a fun game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got it, and it's still a favorite game. I'm sad I got rid of it, but I moved into pinball, and it was all over from there. So,
well, maybe you'll get it again one day.
Eventually.
All right, so we got our conversation starter game going on here.
Awesome. Okay, so our questions are. Oh, I see. Okay, I'm seeing the questions now. And I chose these?
You did.
Great.
You chose the first three. You chose your three.
I don't remember these at all. Okay, so it must have been very late at night.
I think it was.
All right, so conversation starters. So here is my question.
Mm-hmm.
If you could be somebody else for 24 hours, who would you be?
Man. So when I first looked at this, I was kind of stressing because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do something like, I can be this really rich person and then just for 24 hours and then I'll send myself a lot of money and come back into myself and then I'm rich. But then I was like, no, I mean, I wouldn't want to do all that, like ruin someone else's life. So I was like, well, maybe I could just be a younger version of myself, like go back and make some smarter choices on things or, because looking back, there's some pivotal moments and pivotal, life decisions that at the time didn't seem that big of a deal, but looking back, it's just crazy. So maybe just my younger self and making some different choices there. What about you?
That sounds good. We had a special guest in the studio. You might have heard her in the background. That was my dog, Lucy.
Yep, she came for some pets.
She was getting a little petting there, so she made a little jingle with her her little necklace there. For me, I'm I don't know. That seems very thoughtful, and that's very nice of you. Not me at all. I am going to do something, I'm going to choose somebody that has the life I always thought I wanted. I mean, I'm happy with my life now. I'm in a good spot, but I wonder, if I had actually followed through and really focused on being a musician, songwriter, singer, whatever, where would that be? So I'm probably going to choose somebody like one of my idols, like James Taylor.
Right.
Or, like Joe Bonamassa, great guitarist, and just live 24 hours in their shoes and see what that life is really like. See what it's like with all the concerts and the grind of the media.
I'm sure it's crazy.
I'm sure it is. So I figure 24 hours would probably be enough of that, but I would do that to see what it's going to be like.
Very cool. Well, my question for you is, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I'm probably going to say, narrowing it down to one, probably fly. Just to be able to up and take off and fly somewhere, especially
quick escape. I'm
in Fort Worth, Texas right now, and it's 100 degrees. So if I could get anywhere that's not 100 degrees quickly, would be awesome. Yes, that would be so cool to have. Other than that, being invisible would be really cool too. I mean, just think about it. You're in a large crowd. You're just tired of chatting. You could just disappear. Everything is going. You're still there. You're still listening. You partake. You just nobody knows, and you're just doing your own thing. Nobody's bothering you.
Oh yeah, that's it. Nobody's bothering you. Man.
What about you?
Yeah, I guess mine would be telekinesis. That just seems so cool to me to be able to move stuff with your mind. That's so wild. I don't think I would want to read for a long time it was read minds, but then I saw this one episode of Buffy when she just went crazy because everybody's thoughts were like intruding in her head and she just went absolutely crazy. So I don't think I want that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to know what everything everybody's thinking.
I mean, sometimes I do, because sometimes people say things that they don't mean, or vice versa. Like they don't say, It's
called Facebook.
What?
Oh, never mind. Where you can just say anything without accountability. Got it.
I guess.
You're on a computer
But
somewhere
I'm
far
always-
away. If you're face to face, it's a quick, easy throat punch away. You just put it into it real quick.
Man, I'm just always stuck on telekinesis. Yeah, we're just not even gonna. get in
Yeah,
there.
telekinesis is good.
It's all about
Okay.
moving stuff, and maybe that's just the lazy in me.
Yeah, yeah, maybe so. So, if you could write your own law that everyone had to follow, what would it be?
That everyone had to follow. Man, stop getting so offended over stuff.
Got it.
Because it just drives me crazy how
are you going to enforce this law?
back to throat punching, I guess.
Back to the throat punch. It's always.
It drives
quick,
me
it's
crazy
effective.
so much when because I won't be saying anything that I feel like I'm going out of my way to hurt someone's feelings, but when people just take everything I'm saying personally, it drives me up the wall.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not always about you.
Well, right. I understand that.
Just saying.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, I mean.
No, I'm saying from there, it's sometimes when you say something, it's not always about that person. Sometimes you can just say things.
And when you do things and just get so offended by stuff, I can't.
Welcome to our current culture.
Yeah. Welcome.
What a miserable life it must be for people that wake up and all they can do is trying to think of something they can be offended by.
This is a whole other episode.
Oh, yeah, we'll say that.
Here.
That's.
So if you could write your own law, what would it be?
Oh,
That everyone had to follow.
Had to follow.
There were
do
immediate
not
repercussions if they didn't follow it.
Do not go slow in the left lane.
No, really.
At least you got to at least do the speed limit
Man.
in the left-hand lane, or you just explode.
Exactly. I mean, if you're being passed on the right, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Because you watch these people, they sit over there doing 5 or 10 under the speed limit, and cars are just zipping by them on the right. And they don't even know. It's like they don't notice.
Or it's just they're just doing it out of spite.
Well,
Just
then
saying,
they deserve to blow up.
I had a hard day. Now everyone else will have a hard day.
Why ruin everybody else's day?
Some people are like
what
that.
gives you that right?
I don't know.
That's a whole nother podcast.
whole
Anyway.
We're getting into a lot of
Those are
episodes here. Stay
controversial.
tuned. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can.
If you want to hear the controversial podcast, we'll put those somewhere else.
Yes.
Anyway. So, okay. Let's see. What else? What do you got?
So that kind of goes into this next one. What are some pet peeves? I mean, other than driving in the left lane.
People that are slow, and I mean slow with certain tasks that should just be done. I guess I move at a different pace than everybody else. I have a strong sense of urgency. When I want to get somewhere, I get somewhere. I can point A to point B it. But, if I want to take my time and go see things along the way, that's fine. But, like you earlier, whenever I'm trying to get you to fix our little screensaver, and I'm like, all you have to do is right click and just unlock your taskbar. Unlock, and you're just like, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Because you're getting frustrated, and I was just, all the knowledge I had on how to do it just went out of my head because I was getting flustered because you're getting upset.
I'm like, I don't understand.
It's a big cycle.
Fix it.
That's all it is.
Okay. Anyway. I don't know. Pet peeves. Anything's a pet peeve anymore.
Anything and everything.
Where does the throat punch come in? Do I get to do that anytime soon?
I mean, not on me.
Oh, okay.
No, thank you.
Just made me feel better, I guess. No, I don't know. It could be a laundry list of things. There's too many to pick. What about you?
All things. That's what.
All of it.
Everything is a pet peeve.
Everything is irritating.
Matt, for me, the biggest thing is just stuff around eating. It just really gets me. People that smack when they eat, it's like, hate it.
Yeah.
And just noisy eating in general, and eating with your mouth open.
Yeah, it needs to stop.
I mean, you look like a cow. You just look like you're a cow grazing when you're chewing with your mouth open, and it's just so gross to me. I do not want to see your chewed up food, and it's just so gross to me.
Ugh.
Man,
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's gross.
I don't want to see it either. There's a phobia for that. People that don't like the sound of other people eating.
I think it's like misophobia.
I don't know what it is, but I'm probably that.
You're there too?
Yeah, it just drives me nuts.
Or you're just irritated by everything.
I think I'm just irritated by everything, so that's why it drives me nuts. Yeah.
Man, yeah, I just cannot stand it.
It drives me nuts. Okay.
So another thing is specifically with kids, just straight up disrespect and just talking back, because I cannot stand it. I mean, I'll be in a good mood, having a great day, and all of a sudden someone's just, well, you know what, and just being disrespectful, and excuse me, You want to try that again?
This is one of the times we don't use a throat punch, in case you're listening.
Yeah,
Can't do that. Not here.
No throat punching children. But it just immediately floors me. And I'm, nope. We're just going to try that again. And we're going to have a good day. And we're going to get it together. Because I just, don't matter who it is.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the kids can be unruly. I don't know how you do that part of it. I can't, I just don't have patience, I guess.
It really just depends for me. I mean, it's mostly the age group who I have the most patience for. So I have kindergarten where I'm at, so I have the patience for the littles because they don't know any better. They're only 5.
Yeah,
but as soon as I get with the 13 and 14-year-olds and they start having some attitude, nope, no patience because they know better.
And it's got to be tough now dealing with kids because when I was a kid, I'm sure I was very unruly. My parents would probably tell you I was. I think I turned out great. But anyway, whenever I went to school, my parents would literally tell the principal, listen, if he gets out of line, you take him down and you whip him.
Right.
And whip him good. And then call me because when he gets home, we're going to whip him again.
That's right.
And man, every year I made that trip. I didn't get in trouble that often, but once a year, it was like I went down there.
Double whoopings.
And they had a big old wooden paddle that they would whip you with, and it had holes drilled in it, so that way
get better air.
Better aerodynamics, man. They didn't want anything to slow it down as it's coming towards your bottom.
Oh man!
And I got them, and then when I got home, it was even worse. Those days I feel like most parents now they don't want anybody touching their kid. And I get it. I mean, there's definitely a line there between abuse and discipline.
For sure.
But I mean, let's see how is timeout working for all these people? Look at what's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
Can't put everybody in timeout.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just have to suck it up and give them the paddle with the holes in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I'm there.
I'm not sure you're a millennial if you agree with that.
I got whooped for sure. I mean, it really just depends on the situation and the kid, I feel. Well, some kids just don't respond to that at all. So it really just kind of,
I think I didn't respond to it either, but my dad was like, well, I'll just whip you harder.
Well, you just need more whippings. That's what it is.
That's how it was in my house. So I probably had ADHD or whatever they want to claim kids have these days. And my dad did have medication for it. And it was leather. And he wore it around his waist.
Huh.
It was administered fairly often.
Man, that's so great. So that's all going on. So my last pet peeve is when people don't wash their hands after going to the bathroom. That's
right there.
That's gross. And if I'm in the vicinity and you're in the bathroom and I don't hear that water running, I will ask you if you washed your hands afterwards because I'm not gonna be hanging out and I'm not gonna be in the
gross
vicinity of those germs. No,
I know what you've touched, and I
don't want any part of it at all.
I don't want to be touching it too. So you wash your hands. Good advice, everybody.
So
wash
true.
your hands. All right, so let's see. What else do I have on here? What is your most used emoji? Emoji, that's those little funny things that you see in your text, in case you don't know.
My most used one is probably going to be the laughing, crying one, where he's kind of turned to the side and his eyes are squeezed shut. That one.
Got it. You say a lot of funny things, I guess.
I'm hilarious. I'm so funny. I'm sure a lot of people don't think I'm funny, but I have documented proof that I am from 5th grade.
Oh, really?
Yes, we had to do for Valentine's Day, write just one word thing, just saying about each person in the classroom, just a little thing like friendly, stuff like that. And probably 90% of them is hilarious, so funny. So I have, proof that I'm hilarious. But this was also like 20 years ago, so I don't know how funny I am now.
Yeah, some people still find you funny.
I guess, maybe.
Yeah,
crickets.
Maybe.
Yep.
Anyway, so
what's yours? What's your most used?
Mine is the wink wink nudge nudge guy, because I'm always saying something sarcastic or something with some sort of innuendo.
Okay.
so mine is probably going to be that particular one, and followed by the laughing guy too, because it's all in good fun.
Exactly. And I'm the type of person that when I'm texting, sometimes I like put LOL in a lot of my texts just so that they know that I'm not, because sometimes it's hard to decide, like, discern what people are saying.
I think that leads to a lot of the problems.
So I say LOL just on a lot of things so that people know it's all in good fun.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the problems. You can't it's hard to tell tone from a text. So I do the same thing. I'll put LOL and the laughing face just in case they missed the LOL.
And a GIF followed was just laughing. All kinds of stuff. We just want no, miscommunication.
Right. Yeah.
It's all funny.
All right. So you got one last question for me. What is this?
So what is your go-to movie or TV series? Like, so what's something that you just kind of either just play in the background all the time or something you've seen a million times that you just can't ever get over?
Well, my wife will tell you because, a lot of times I'll eat lunch or whatever and I'll just watch something because I work from home. And so you need that break. You need to get away from. Otherwise, I'll just sit there at my desk and work all the way through lunch. So sometimes I'll go out and I'll fix lunch and I'll just, put something on just to take my brain off of it. And it's probably more than anything, it's Friends.
Oh, I love Friends.
Which is funny. I never watched Friends when it was actually on the air.
Really?
I never saw an episode. I only saw it in reruns. But I've seen every episode now, and it's just I can check out, I can laugh. You get very attached to those characters
for sure.
And so I can, if that's on, I can watch that, and I can watch it. Any episode doesn't matter, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll still laugh.
Yeah, I hear you. That is a good one.
Yeah,
I like that one.
And for like a movie that I'll always watch if it's on, probably one of my favorite movies of all time is A League of Their Own.
Really?
Yeah,
I like
weird.
that one. That's yeah.
For a guy, probably that's weird, but I don't know. Absolutely
It's got some funny lines in it.
It's really funny. I absolutely adore that movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really good one. I like that one too.
How about you?
So my go-to TV series, probably Trailer Park Boys. I know it's like strange to hear from me, I guess, when I tell people that. They're like, "Are you serious?"
Never seen that movie.
It's
don't even know what it's about.
It's about this staged reality show. Like it's scripted, but it makes you think that it's a reality show of these people that live in a trailer park in Canada and just all the shenanigans and stuff that they get into. And it's so funny to me because obviously it's fake, but it's a little crude, but it's so hilarious. Just some of the stuff that they get into, and man, I just love it.
What about a movie?
A movie, really, like we were saying, any Disney Channel movie, I can really get into that. But I guess movie, Superbad. That was the first R-rated movie I ever saw in theaters, and that's a movie that I just still laugh at every time I watch it.
I don't think I've ever seen that either.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's so funny. It's just situational comedy. Maybe that's just what I'm into. I like situational stuff because that's the same with Trailer Park Boys. It's just they get into silly situations, and I really like to laugh too. So I'm not watching a lot of those.
I watched a lot of comedies.
Yeah,
which puts me at a disadvantage a lot of times with conversations with friends my age because they're always talking about Heat or all these great action movies and stuff.
I like action movies.
I didn't watch a lot of them because I was watching Airplane or I was watching Ghostbusters or
those are good.
Weird Science if you're a John Hughes fan, any of the John Hughes films, all that sort of stuff. That's what I was always watching.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch a lot of the action movies until much later.
Yeah, I hear that.
But
I like action movies though. They're good.
Yeah. All right. Let's move into this. It looks like you've got this game.
Yes.
For me to play. Slang game is what you've called this.
Game. Yes.
And I'm supposed to guess the meaning of the slang terms of your generation.
Yes. Yes. So, first on the list here, we've got spilling tea.
My wife does that constantly. Iced tea, fresh glass, knocks it right on the floor.
That's not quite the same.
I think I would beg to differ.
So
spilling tea is exactly what she does.
This is metaphorical tea.
Okay, so is it like what we would call spilling the beans?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, tea is in more like gossip and just hot news, that type of stuff. So
spilling the beans would be more of letting the cat out of the bag, letting out a secret or something.
Which is, kind of this too. tea would be considered like a secret. It kind of goes back to that Kermit the Frog meme where he's sipping the tea and just minding his own business.
Hilarious.
Stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I like
great.
the Kermit the Frog memes.
I like memes in general.
I do too. Gosh, so funny.
Man. Okay. So another one is beat. Beat as in like.
He's on the beat.
Like, no.
Oh.
Like her face is beat.
Worn out.
No.
Done. Tired. I am beat.
Done is a little closer.
Beat
as in like her face, like beat up, like with makeup and stuff. Like she just, yeah.
Beat? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, yep, that's what it's called. Just beat up, makeup. Yep, that type of stuff.
You don't just say, "Oh, her makeup looks nice."
It's beautiful. Now you beat. No.
Oh, got it.
No.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
Mm-hmm.
Beat.
Another
I
one.
beat. I just figure you're watching one of those Lifetime channel movies or something.
Oh my God.
Movies for women, but they're always getting beat. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, those are terrible.
They're horrible.
Man,
horrible.
but
Who
I mean,
watches
they
that
always,
stuff?
get them in the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Another one is sus. What do you think?
Well, a sus is a suspended note in music in theory.
This isn't music. This is life.
Oh, sus. Can you suspend life? I don't know.
Nope. It means
suspect.
Suspicious. Yes, suspect. Yes.
Boom, suspect.
Like, man, he's looking real sus over there.
See, that's a common thing I find among the youth these days. They don't like to say whole words. They just like, it's suspect. Suspect? Is that what you're suspect?
He's suspicious.
He's sus.
Yeah, sus. Yeah, so suspicious.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Got it.
What about OTP?
OTP on the parole.
No.
Patrol.
Mm-mm.
OPP. I know what that is.
Yeah, you know me.
OTP. Other people's problem. No, that's not right either. I don't know.
One true pairing. It kind of goes into
kind of like peanut butter and jelly.
Yes.
They just go together.
Yes, exactly.
They should be together.
But yes, they should be together. So that goes into this next thing with it. I mean, it's not just couples that you would see in movies and books and stuff. It's who you think should be a couple. So even if they're not traditionally a couple in the show, like Romeo and Juliet are traditionally a couple, it's Romeo with someone else that you feel would be better than them.
Yeah, that didn't end well for them, so I'm not saying that was a great couple.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't great. I mean, they were like 16, so maybe that was their issue.
Got it.
So why don't you tell me some of yours? Because you got some for me.
So the problem is I feel like I'm at a big disadvantage in this because everything we said, 70s and 80s, you're going to know because those were such great years. Such a great generation. Think about it. They literally make movies today in remembrance of those.
That 70s show. I love that show.
Come on.
So
Because it was so awesome. So, I mean, you have an unfair advantage because you get to see obviously you've heard Totally Tubular before, and that's rad. Those types of things.
Rad.
See, exactly. It's still popular.
I don't say tubular.
What I've done is I have come up with my own little game for you. So I have got some clips from there. These are catchphrases that anybody in my era should know if they watch TV at all. And this not even cable TV because I didn't have it. I had the 3 channels and I had to switch it.
Right.
Well, I did have UHF, but then you had to get over there and hold the antenna. But so these are clips that people from my era should know. So I want you to see if you can guess who said them and what television show they are from.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
So here is number 1.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
That is from Happy Days.
Happy Days.
Have you heard of Happy Days?
Yes, it's a good show. Hey.
Yeah, that's Fonzie.
Yes.
So that is Big Al DeVecchio. He owned Al's Diner, which is where they all hung out. And so he would have conversation. He wasn't as big a role as Fonzie or Potsy or Richie or them.
Character.
But he would always tell a story, and he'd always end with that.
Yeah.
So good old Big Al. All right, well let's try this one.
Kiss my Gria.
I love that. That's so great.
I say that a lot anyway.
Kiss my Gria.
That's so great. No, I don't know.
Yeah, that is Flo from Alice. It was a show called Alice, and it was about waitresses at this place called Mel's Diner. Actually, it was such a popular show, they made a spinoff just based on her character, just called Flo, and it was short lived. I think it only lasted a season, but it was still as a popular. And you would hear everybody say, "Well, kiss my grits," anytime something like that came up. So, and then as a boy in the 80s, my young teenage years, this was always one of my favorite shows.
I love it when a plan comes together.
I don't know that one either.
See, they actually made a movie recently based on this television show from back then.
I love it when a plan comes together.
That is Hannibal, which John Hannibal Smith was his name, and he was on the A-Team.
Ah.
He was the leader of the A-Team, which was he was played by George Papard. I want to say, I didn't see the movie, but I want to say they chose Liam Neeson for his part in the movie, which makes sense because Liam's kind of a badass too.
All right.
And so, and I'm sure he says,
I love it when a plan comes together. I love it when a plan comes together.
I have to assume he did. I mean, I can't imagine them making the movie without that. But you know who else came from the A-Team? You've heard of the A-Team, right?
Yes, I've heard of them. I never watched the show. I never saw the movie, but I mean, I know what the deal is with that show.
Right. So it's a band of basically mercenaries.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so somebody else that came out of that show became a household name, or propelled him to a household name, was Mr. T.
Yeah.
I pity the fool.
Ah.
Yeah, good old Mr. T. So
And I've heard that one before.
yeah, but strangely enough, that's what he's known for, is saying "I pity the fool." It's one of his big catchphrases. But that actually he never said that in the actual TV series, The A-Team. It's everybody assumed. Actually, you know what? I was doing some research, and there's a lot of sayings that people would think came from a specific thing.
Really?
That actually were never in the movie.
Huh.
Like "Play It Again, Sam" was never in Casablanca. Never actually said that line. But this actually came from a Rocky movie, Rocky 3, when he's talking about fighting Rocky. So, yeah, so if you didn't know that.
I pity the fool.
Anyway, so how about this one? You'll know this one.
Nanu.
That one is from Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, Mork and Mindy.
Which I never saw that show either.
Played by
Robin Williams.
the great, late great Robin Williams.
All I can do is picture those suspenders that he was wearing.
Right. So yeah, he played a extraterrestrial sent to Earth from the planet Orc to study human behavior, I guess.
Interesting.
Pretty interesting. It was a good show. How about this one?
Dynamite.
I don't know. Man, I'm not doing very good at this, am I?
Well, see, finally. Well, I didn't do very good at your acronyms either.
Well, you're all right.
So that was said by James J.J. Evans, who played Jimmy Walker on Good Times. Yeah, that actually ran, I want to say, 1974 to 79. And the show actually started to be kind of like a comedy, well, not even more, a comedy that deals with more, controversial, heavy themes. Yeah, kind of like All in the Family and some of that. But when they introduced his character and he started using the dynamite because he referred to himself as Kid Dynamite, it became such a popular catchphrase and character that they actually decided to go more in the comedic, lighter humor sense based on that. So, which
they probably, because it ran for a while, didn't it?
Yeah,
it was a really successful show, so they made a good choice.
Yeah, 74 to 79, 5 years. Here's one. Matter of fact, I mentioned this one earlier.
The plane.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Fantasy Island?
Yes, Fantasy Island. That would be Tattoo, which was Mr. Rourke's sidekick or assistant on Fantasy Island. He's actually saying Z-plane. Because he's French.
Zip-plane.
He's French. Strangely enough, he's actually known previous to this from a role in a James Bond film, The Man with the Golden Gun. He played an evil villain, Knick-Knack, I want to say his name. I think it was his name. So anyway.
I didn't know that. A little bit of tidbit for you.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. How about this one?
What you talking about, Willis?
That's, is it Gary Coleman?
Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman, yeah.
Yeah, that was from what show?
Good Times?
No, we already had Good Times. This was from Different Strokes.
Different Strokes. Dang it.
Yeah. This was a show about a rich, widowed guy who ends up adopting these two these two African American kids whose mom used to work for him.
Oh, okay.
So it was a feel good show, but strangely enough, that's one that did towards the end of that series. It definitely took a turn towards more serious and heavy situations. I remember specific episodes about drugs and things like that. Yeah, so they got into some of that stuff.
I'm sure as the kids grew older, they try to tackle some different
So it was pretty interesting.
Issues.
So here's another one that this is barely in my time. Maybe I remember it from reruns or just because she reprised this role. But I've always enjoyed this one.
One ringy dingy. Two ringy dingies. A gracious good afternoon. Have I reached the party to whom I am speaking?
Any ideas?
No clue at all.
That is Lily Tomlin. She's an icon in comedy, and that was a role that she, I guess, created on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, which was from '69 to '73.
Yeah, I've seen little bits of Laugh-In. It's like on YouTube.
Yeah, her character was Ernestine or Ernestine. She was this crazy, brash, angry telephone operator. It was always a good skit. And then one last one, which I would expect you to know just based on I Know Your Family.
Okay.
And this should have been a hit around you. So.
Well, excuse me.
Steve Martin?
Steve Martin, right. The great Steve Martin, who had not only a great comedy career, that was from Let's Get Small, which I think was his first album.
Oh, I guess I never listened to the albums too much, just bits from SNL.
Right. Well, and he was I guess next to Alec Baldwin, he hosted the most or was the guest the most on any of the SNL shows. But yeah, he that little catchphrase took off. It was huge for him. He had a lot of catchphrases, but that one was really big. Saturday Night Live had the catchphrase from him and Dan Aykroyd. Well, just two wild and crazy guys.
Yeah.
So, so he had a lot of stuff.
Man, those outfits were great too.
Weren't they though? Love it. Love it. So, okay. So you you knew a few of them.
Yeah, I did okay.
So that means your parents did a pretty good job.
Arliss,
Jeanette, if you're out there, not bad.
Congratulations.
Not bad. We don't have any.
We're looking at cameras
that aren't working.
We're looking at empty tripods.
But when you get a chance, maybe you should let her listen to some Lily Tomlin.
Okay.
So, what's next? What else is that?
I guess that's it.
So what? Yeah. So then, what do we got coming up? This is the end of the debut podcast for That's Okay. What do we have coming up? Maybe in the next couple episodes.
Well, our next episode, we're going to be talking about just some music and movies, like stuff that we grew up on and made an impact in your life, and just some stuff like that. And a little game we're going to play, like Guess That Song maybe, and Guess the Movie. For example, a game for Guess the Movie, just bad descriptions, just giving some bad descriptions from movies and trying to figure out which one it is. So that's the next episode we got coming up.
Any description of mine.
Any description. Yeah, because I'm really just bad at it in general.
Yeah, just in general. Hard to remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't really remember movies a lot. So, there's specific ones I remember.
It doesn't necessarily have to be older movies. It's going to be, just movies in general that you're going to try and guess from. Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds like fun. So, hey, listen, if you're listening to this and you have some ideas that you think you would like to hear, maybe the generational perspective on, throw down some comments, or send us a message. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at That's Okay Podcast. Right. We also have a website that will be up soon if it's not already, but it's that'sokaypodcast.com. Well, you'll be able to find all our podcasts. Also, we're going to distribute them through, of course, the regulars, the iTunes, Spotify, Google, all that as well. So, listen, thanks for joining us. We're so glad if you made it through this, thanks for being a trooper. If you've made it this far, because I know this podcast for you has probably only gone, I don't even know, maybe an hour, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. It depends on how I edit it. For us, it's been about 8 hours. So if you've made it this far,
8 hours, you mean like 8 months?
That's impressive.
We're working on it. But yeah, thanks again for listening, and make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And
until next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.